The Bully Girl Magazine podcast is your dog-eared audio destination, bookmarking the most compelling tales and insights from the vast canine universe. While we passionately dive in the world of bully breeds, dispelling myths, offering training tips, and discussing breed standards, our scope isn't limited. We cast our net wide to encompass a diverse range of dog breeds, ensuring no tale is left untold. Enhanced by expert interviews and inspiring stories, this podcast is a beacon for responsible ownership and breed education. It's where bully breed enthusiasts meet the broader dog-loving community, fostering unity, understanding, and shared joy in every bark and wag. So whether you're out walking your dog or listening at home, enjoy the show and keep coming back. Hi, I'm Lisa Davis. So glad you're listening or watching the Bully Girl Magazine podcast. Joining us today is Adrian Palacio. He and his wife, Jalen, are the proud owners of Palacio Bully Camp, a Miami-based kennel that specializes in breeding true American bully breed. I love that. Their passion for the breed began with their foundation dog, Zelda, who embodies the perfect traits they wanted to replicate in their breeding program: health, temperament, structure, and mobility. I love all of that. Adrian, thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on the Bully Girl Magazine, and what you guys are doing is amazing for the culture.
Oh, I love it. It makes me so happy, and I've met so many incredible people. All right, who is that beautiful dog that you're holding?
So this right here is one of my new babies. He is about 4 weeks old. He's off of one of my main studs, Ocean's Blue. Ocean's Blue is our third generation that we started. Like you mentioned, Zelda, we started off with Zelda. So this right here, you can see a lot of Zelda in him. You can see the markings, you can see the chinky eyes, the little white spot in the middle, the little black mask. So she has a lot of traits running through her generations. You know, every single generation you can see Zelda definitely in all of her productions.
Oh, she's absolutely beautiful. Now, before I go into the first questions that I ask every guest, I do want to ask you what it means to you when you say true American bully breed, that's what you guys specialize in.
Yeah, so definitely I've been on both sides. In the past, when I first started with the American bully breed, I was new to it, so I didn't know a lot. I didn't know the difference between what was an exotic bully, what was an American bully, and there's so many different variations, different sizes, different looks. There's so many creative camps out there bringing different looks, but I think in the process we could lose the bully look. So when I say the true American bully look, in my opinion, the Palacio Bully Camp's vision is to stick to the closest we can to the standard, but also not losing that Schaffer and Pitbull look that we all fell in love with years ago when we first started.
That's what I love about it, too, because I'm such a Pitbull fanatic, and now I'm an American Bully fanatic. Now, I'm going to ask you two questions, and the first question is, does your dog, and it could be any of your dogs, do something quirky, funny, unusual that makes you smile?
Yes, definitely. So I think all of them are very special individually, but the one that makes me laugh the most is my boy King. He's my first bully ever. He's actually not even off his Zeldaline, but he's one of my favorites. He's my first experience of having a bully, and the most funniest things he does is how attached he could be to a human. I never thought that a dog could be so loving, but he's just so clingy and so funny that sometimes I look back and I think it's a ghost because he's there, and the next second he's not there, and the next second he's there. So it's I think that's one of the most things that keep me happy, and I think it's amazing to actually see that passionate companion that everybody talks about.
Yes,
he's really cool. He's really funny.
Oh, that is awesome. Blue's like that too. My husband calls him like an extra limb because he's always on me and in one way. And sometimes it's hard because their heads are heavy. Like he'll have his head on my knee in a certain way and it'll hurt my knee, but I'm like, oh, but he looks so precious and I don't want to move him. But eventually I'll kind of move a little and he'll try to go right back where he was. And we have this little like battle. That stubbornness is definitely strong as well. So the next question has two parts. When did your love of dogs begin? And then when did your love of bully breeds begin in particular, which you kind of answered, but when did your love of dogs begin?
So dogs definitely came from my mother. We used to pick up stray dogs from the streets in Miami when I was younger, and she used to pick them up, clean them up real good, fix them up real good so they look, nice and clean again. And then we would go around the neighborhood looking for new owners. So she taught me that love for animals since the beginning. And then with the American Bully, I had a friend from high school, Ryan Moore. He was the one who sold me King, my first American Bully. Since they were kind of expensive, it was hard for me to be able to get my hands on one. So finally, once I got my hands on one, I just fell in love with the way they looked, everything, the way they act like humans. And it's so cool to look at something so beautiful, but then so so beastie with the muscles and the way they act like bulls, like bulls. So that's definitely when I fell in love with them, was when I was able to get both sides of things. That sweet, loving, but that beast monster look at the same time.
And I want to go right into the things that I mentioned in the beginning: health, temperament, structure, mobility. So start with health. What kind of health testing? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so definitely what we do is we have a procedure that we always do for all of our pups. We follow like vaccinations, deworming, all the basics. And then we have one of the number one reproduction specialists here in Florida, Morbid Services. And they usually go tell us what to do. If they think there's anything wrong with a dog, we do the necessary testing if they definitely think that we should do any extra. But for the most part, the greatest thing about the work that we've done is that we've kept a lot of the dogs in-house, right? So we've been able to control and also keep a close eye on the growth of different litter mates together and keep a better control of the gene pool of what's in these
Right.
dogs. So I've tried to line breed and keep that whole gene pool very closely. So working together with the right doctors and working together with a selected few of dogs, we've been able to really push out or not even get close to bringing in anything bad, which has been a
Oh.
big blessing to have healthy dogs, athletic dogs, very good breeding dogs, and long lasting. Zelda now is about to be 9 years old, super
Oh,
healthy,
that's
has had
great.
never no issues. I would say
Wow.
the only time she's been to the vet for a teeth cleaning at most.
Hmm.
A big
Yeah.
difference in I would say the most important thing with the health part of things is just to make sure you're working with the right vets and make sure that they're giving you the right information because not
Right.
every vet is breeding friendly. So that's the most
Oh,
important.
that is such a good point.
Mhm.
It's interesting because well, anyway, it doesn't matter, but I reached out to a vet that I'd known in the past, and I asked her to come on the show, and she said no because she's a rescue person. And my thought is, don't you want all dogs to be healthy? I mean, I like a little puzzled. And I think you can be both. I've had conversations with other people on the show about that. And I think, all of my dogs have been rescue dogs. They've all been terrific. I've gotten lucky, but that's not always the case for everybody. And I
Okay.
think a lot of people want a puppy. They're going to get a puppy. So let's present them with people like you who are doing a fantastic job and who really care about the dogs.
Thank you. Most important. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
gotta tell everybody a lot of the times it has to do with the size of the camp. When you
Right.
have smaller camps with less selection of dogs, they make I would say less the right the most educated. I would say they're making the decision based off of numbers and not off the health of the dogs. So when you have a bigger camp,
Hmm.
you have more space to say, you know what, I'm not going to breed this female because she has these issues. I'm going to just rehome
Oh,
her. I'm going to stay with this. I have this other girl. When we have a small camp that has two girls, they try to ignore a lot of facts like that. So I think when you're going to go with camps, they have to be a little bit more experienced and a little bit more
yes.
educated in what that is. More repetition of doing the same thing will bring more knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's talk about temperament. How do you is that looking at the types of, not the types, but the personalities of the dogs that you are breeding together to make sure
Yes,
that, like,
definitely.
okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. So I take in consideration for the most part, none of my dogs are aggressive. We have some that are very high driven. So
Right.
sometimes if you don't control that drive, it could turn into aggression. It could turn into frustration. So you want to
Oh,
notice what type of dogs you're dealing with from the beginning. So if I have a real hyper dog, what my goal is to match it up with a dog that's more chill, more relaxed, so that I have
right.
more of a balance. I also try to also take in consideration is what are these customers and people who are going to get dogs from us, what are they going to be doing if they're going to be traveling? So if I have a dog that doesn't
Yeah.
do good in travel, like in car rides, then I'm going to try to also make sure that I'm matching it up with a dog that does do good with car rides. All
Oh,
of those characteristics we've put together dogs before, and it's proved to us our theory, and we've created dogs that are way more better to travel with, way more relaxed, way more balanced. They're not as hyper so much.
yeah.
Another thing to take in way big in consideration is the upbringing of the puppies.
Right.
After doing it so much, we realized that a lot of exposure to playing with each other, exposure to bigger dogs before they leave to their new homes,
Yeah.
more hands-on with them, more often putting my kids around them to have that interaction. All those things has to do also with what they say the temperament of the dog. Once it gets to the new home,
Yes.
that has a big part to do with it. Some is genetics, but a lot of it has to do with the upbringing as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That socialization is really important. And I want to talk about structure next because I think sometimes people worry, well, that dog is so muscular. Is it too muscular? Like, I mentioned this before, but I had a really interesting conversation with Dave Wilson from the ABKC, and he was talking about there's like a fine line. And if you
Correct.
go over that line, it's not fair to the dog. And
Yes.
that goes into mobility. So if you want to touch on both of these things
Yes.
together, that would be
Yeah. So
great.
I think what he's when he says that is like what we call overdone. When a dog is too overdone, that means like it has
Yeah.
either too much of the same blood or too much mass. It's not balanced out correctly. So that's another thing too that has a lot to do with matchmaking. You have to make sure that the dogs you're putting together, not only the two dogs that are in front of you look good together,
Right.
but the pedigree. So the grandparents, a
Yes.
lot of these dogs, they produce their grandparents. So
Oh,
that I
okay.
would say the after me doing a lot of my crossing, and also in the past when I did exotics, I do know that as you shrink down, you lose a little bit of mobility, and as you go up, you have more
Oh,
mobility. Kind
right.
of shrinking the bone down. So I would say the thin line is knowing when to cross a short dog to a short dog or a big dog to a short dog, and at least within your own line, because everybody has their own recipe, their own things. Within my
Yeah.
recipe, that's the recipe that I've noticed is when I cross a big dog with a big dog, you're gonna get a big dog. But if you mix a small dog with a small dog, you're shrinking down so fast that I'm sure a lot of
Oh,
people are having that same issue. So you can't shrink down so fast. You have to go down slowly.
okay.
But structure has everything to do with it. We can't have a high rear. It messes up the spine. We can't have a lot of bone. In my opinion, it looks good right now. But as the years go and these dogs start to slow down because of age, I'm sure that
Yeah,
all that weight is not going to be good on those bones.
right.
So definitely has to take that in consideration. But I think it's mostly to keep in mind not so much chasing what everybody else is doing, and is to make sure that what you're looking at in front of you makes sense and make sure it's
Yeah.
balanced. Because some people might be making decisions on their program not based on what makes sense health wise, but more what looks cool at the moment. I want
Yes.
a lot of bone. I want a lot of mass. I want to just blow up my dog. But is that female the right dog for that matchup? And that's the key
Right.
to it, is knowing what female is good for what male and having that balance. And I think that the only way to really gauge that is by continually breeding the same bloods. If you're constantly mixing bloods all the time, I think it's really hard to gauge any of that. The health, the temperament,
Ah,
because you're
okay.
just mixing more genes into it. So the more control you have over the line, the better chances you have of producing all those great things.
Oh, absolutely. Now, do you have bloodlines that are your favorites?
So my first one I started with was Magoo and Cashpot. That was my foundation female. Muscle Bullies, Magoo, and that was my first dog that I saw that I was just like, wow, like that was a massive, beautiful dog. I was able to get Zelda off of my mentor, Kenny Cypress, and that was my first female. So then we crossed her to my second favorite blood. Well, same bloodline, but different dog, which
Yeah.
was Muscle Casablanca. Then
Mm.
when we added Muscle Casablanca, we had the pleasure of breeding our female, our Zelda daughter, to the other side of things, which was the Trumper blood, which was
Oh,
Homicide, Champion Homicide. He's right now owned by someone else. He's a beautiful dog. He's real badass. And he was like the branch of Chumper line that was starting to come out from that side of the bloodline. So it was basically Magoo, Casablanca, Chumper, and Kashpa are the four bloods that I love a lot.
I love all of those names. You mentioned the word mentor a minute ago. How important do you think mentorship is, especially to somebody new in this
Very, very
game?
important. I think it saved me a lot of headaches. He saved me a lot of wasting time. Time is very valuable.
Yeah.
So he also taught me, like, my mentor was a person where I had to impress him. So he saved me because what are we doing on the internet? We're trying to impress everybody. So we're trying to
Right.
show everybody the best pictures, the best videos. So
Hmm.
a mentor is going to guide you the right way. A good mentor is going to teach you what pictures and what videos should be used and what shouldn't be used. Mentor is going to teach you also how to be professional, not
Yeah.
jump out and lash out at somebody when you're upset, or do the right things to make things right if something goes wrong with a dog. So
Hmm.
guidance is, to me, is the most important thing. And there's so many people coming into this community that we need guidance. There's a lot of guidance needed. I think we're outnumbered from people with knowledge to people compared to
Right.
people coming in 100%. So
Right.
that's why, like, something like this is very important for the community, that they could get free information, and
Right.
it doesn't come from a place where they're only getting it from the person they're buying something. It's just they could get it from anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think you'd be a fantastic mentor. Are there any people that you're helping out with this?
Yes, definitely. I have a few people under my wings. I have a few
Nice.
co-owners that I teach a lot. The number one thing, even though you need a great mentor, you also need a great person on the other side. If the other person doesn't want to learn, if the person's
Mm.
not interested in learning more, and the most important thing, taking positive criticism. So I
Yes.
try to give my people that I mentor positive criticism. I try not to be, too serious about it, but like I said, it's time. You're playing with dogs' lives, so you have to
Right.
make sure that you're doing things right. So I like to do it because I make sure that they're not wasting their time, and that the animals they're dealing with are going through a good time, and not
Right.
good homes, and being produced correctly and not being unhealthy. So I
Yeah.
like mentoring. It's pretty cool.
Is there a common theme that comes up with people where the positive criticism comes in? Is it like, oh, a lot of people aren't whelping right, or a lot of people are making them too big for their bodies, or is there something that kind of a common thread?
Are you saying like common things that come up within a mentoring?
Yeah, and or like what the people are asking you for help with. Is it like
Yeah,
this?
well,
This
for
seems to
sure,
be a
for sure.
challenging
Whelping,
area.
I think whelping is the first one. Is very scary. When you're
Yes.
dealing with the lives, a lot of people don't know. They think that it's more like a Maltese or a Yorkie, that you just leave the mom with the baby.
Yeah.
So once I start telling them, "Hey, are you ready to whelp?" They're like, "What do you mean?" Like, "What do you mean?" So that they had no clue about it.
Oh
When I tell
boy.
them about C-section, they're like, "What? I thought this was natural." So a lot of people have no clue. So you have to teach them a lot of from everything from step A to B. A lot of the promotion is the main thing that I mentor with a lot. A lot of the selection of photos and videos. Um,
Hmm.
and definitely where they house the dogs. Some people have the dogs where I have to teach them like what's right and wrong, what's the right thing to do as far as food, as health, where they're
Right.
supposed to sleep. I always also promote for dogs to sleep inside. I don't,
Yes.
I know
Good.
they could survive outside, but I tell them, if you could put them inside in the AC, that's the best thing you can do for them. So I
Yeah.
mentor a lot in everything, a little bit in everything from sales to promotion to whelping. My wife does an excellent job helping me with that. She's the one that whelps, so if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to
Oh.
do this. I suck big time at whelping. She has that natural woman touch,
Hmm.
so she
That's
helps me a lot
great.
with that. So she's usually on the phone with my co-owners, with my customers, helping them, late at night, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., trying to save puppies that might have swallowed some milk, aspiration. So a
Right.
lot of everything. It's pretty entertaining, pretty cool, and very hands-on for sure. But it's very the most thing I would say is whelping. Whelping is the number one thing.
You mentioned the heat, and I'm thinking about you being in Florida, and I know that for bully breeds in particular, the heat can be a real problem.
Yes.
So people cannot be leaving their dogs out, especially the humidity is brutal in the summer.
Yeah, I always recommend everybody not to leave their dogs outside. And if you
Yeah.
leave them outside, put some shading, but never keep these dogs out, no matter how good they are. Some people try to say if you get them used to it since little, could be that they
Mm.
might be a little bit more resistant, but nature is very random. So it could be that day they just had a bad, they're not hydrated or something. So it's very, and I always recommend too to not focus so much, especially here in the heat, to overfeed your dogs to look beastie. Because
Oh,
heat has a lot to do
interesting.
with it with them being outside in the heat. So I try to keep my dogs a little bit underweight or right on the line so that they're not so heavy walking around in the heat. It makes a huge difference. It has a
Oh,
lot to do with
yeah.
but definitely it's very hot out here. So I recommend everybody to have like if they're in your house, I think is the safest way. Here in South Florida, there's a lot of people who like to use sheds. Where
Oh,
they put the
okay.
dogs inside the sheds with ACs and stuff like that. But I also recommend not to do that because I've had a lot of friends where the AC splitter goes into heat mode and kills all the dogs.
Oh,
So I
God,
always
that's
recommend to
horrendous.
keep dogs inside is the safest place. Don't put them outside. Don't put them in sheds. Keep them inside. If you love your dogs, if you're investing your money into this dog,
Yeah.
make sure they're inside the house 100%.
I don't even understand people who won't let their dog on the furniture. To me, it's like, I don't want to sit on the floor and cuddle on a hard floor. I want to sit on a couch. I want to be cozy watching TV. The dog's sitting with me up here, but everyone's different. Everyone has their own things. Now, a moment ago you mentioned feeding. So what do your dogs eat?
Well, so we have two foods that we feed different dogs. The two ones that we use are Taste of the Wild salmon, and we use
Oh,
a can of chicken.
oh, okay.
We've had the dogs on a Taste of the Wild longer than the Acana. Um, we used to try raw feeding. We've tried all types of different things with different dogs. Definitely, I don't see a huge difference, hands-on experience with them. I used to waste like 1,500 a month on raw meat, and it wasn't doing like nothing to the dogs. I would say the
Oh,
most important thing is lots of fluids, and
yeah,
the food because these foods are like $60. Obviously, you could buy cheap
yeah.
food, but those cheap foods have a lot of fillers, have a lot of pork
Hmm.
filling and stuff like that, which is not great for them. But
Yeah.
yeah, the food I like to use the most is Taste of the Wild salmon for the puppies, and then once they get bigger, we switch them over to a can of chicken.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
It's interesting because a lot of people, their bullies have issues with chicken. I know Blue has issues with a bunch of things, but yours don't?
Yes.
Obviously, yours don't
So
because
they get
they're
allergic.
eating chicken.
The super weird part is when we give them like
Yeah.
regular chicken, they do get an allergy. But with that
Oh,
kibble, something about that kibble, they don't get a reaction.
oh, and what's the
And
brand name?
a can of ACANA.
Acana. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good to
they do
know.
very well on it. We
Yeah, and the
tried
salmon is
all,
great too. Hmm.
salmon's amazing. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. We tried one time, I think it was blue buffalo, but that one wasn't giving us. There was giving a lot of allergies. Most of the time, when they get
Oh,
allergies,
okay.
you'll start seeing them in the ears. You'll start seeing them under the legs,
Yes.
different parts everywhere for sure.
Ugh, so frustrating. All right, talk to us about exercise.
Exercise. So I think every individual dog should have his own individual routine. I think that
Oh,
some
nice.
dogs are not meant to do the same thing as all of them because then you're pushing. It's like if you had a son that was overweight, and then you have the son that's perfect and fit. So if you push
Yeah,
the other one, he might lose the weight, but you could also put him in danger. So
that's
you would
true.
always have everybody with their own individual. So we do 3 times a day, 1 hour every dog. If they get to the
Hmm.
hour, because again the heat's very crazy out here, so they play as much as they
Yeah,
do. We don't limit them. We let them do their thing outside. Sometimes we take them out individually because some dogs like to play better tugging by themselves or catching the ball by themselves. Nothing
right.
crazy, no weightlifting, no vest or nothing like that. I just like my dogs to be dogs. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I like my dogs
Oh,
to be dogs. I don't want them to be like, soldiers. I don't, so it's regular, just playing back and forth, fetch and catch, nothing crazy. But definitely 3 times a day. And then On the third time of the day, it's more where it's more like a relaxed routine where they're playing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more like, hey, let's go hang out outside. Let's just go lay
Mm.
down on the floor. Something real simple. I feel like the number one thing that would blossom a dog, I keep saying this,
Mm-hmm.
what are you talking about? Is showing a lot of love. You show a lot of love to your dog, and he's going to blossom.
Right.
That's 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I adore you. I mean, I think you're so fabulous. All right, Adrian, walk us through from start to finish about getting a pup from Palacio's Bullies.
Yeah, so getting a pup from off is, I would say, is a smooth transition. A lot of people actually give us huge acknowledgments for doing such a great job.
I
First,
bet.
we want to find out exactly what you want. We don't want you to buy a dog that, when it grows up, is not what you expected or is not what you
Yeah.
wanted. All dogs look very similar when they're small, but as they grow up, they look totally different. So I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to do a little bit of research. If you're looking for a 50-pound dog, if you're looking for a 70-pound dog, if you're looking for a dog that's going to be hyper, or you're looking for a dog that's going to be chill with you. Some people want to
Yeah.
go fishing with their dog. Some people just want to relax on their couch. So for a person that would relax on their couch, I wouldn't want to give them the most active dog in the litter because that's not going to
Right.
match with them. So that's a huge part of my. And then one of my favorite parts is giving them the knowledge part on what created these beautiful dogs. So I walk them through all the way. You don't have to do no research with us. We give you all the information.
Wow.
We go all the way back 4 or 5 generations. We walk you through all the work we've done from our pedigrees, dog by dog. We show you videos, pictures. We give you access to do FaceTime with the dogs so that you can see them. A lot of the times, you only see pictures. They only show you pictures. So we show you the real thing. We want to show you the tail, everything. So you can see everything about the dog. And then once we are able to see exactly which dog you want, then we'll talk pricing. We'll talk about how to get the dog to you. We have 2 ways, which is getting a dog from you picking up the dog here at Miami International Airport, or you could fly in. We could hang out somewhere. You could have the dog. Or sometimes, too, I have a nanny that could actually take the puppy right to you, to your nearest airport. So there's different ways. But my most important part of the whole thing that I would say is the reason why it's so smooth is the informational part. The money's
Right.
cool and all of that, but my main focus is to let you know what you're getting, to let you know where this came from. We've put a lot of work into this. It's not just a dog. It has a
Yeah.
lot of sweat and tears into this. So I want to make sure the person learns everything that what they have. And I think that makes the biggest difference because when you have to go yourself by yourself in this bully community, and you have to tell you, the first thing they're going to ask you is, "Hey, what bloodline is your dog?" So if you don't know
Right.
how to even start off and say where your dog came from, then it looks like I did a bad job as the person that sold it to you. If you
Yeah.
do bad as a customer and you do horrible with your dog, or he just doesn't turn out beautiful, or you're not happy with it, I look horrible. So my
Right.
job is 100% to give you everything you need, and that's from A to Z is how I cover every single end.
Now, you had said 50 pounds. My ideal would be on the smaller side, but still an American Bully, but not a micro who's mellow. Is that possible? Or because my husband's like, oh, the American Bullies they're beautiful dogs, but they're just too big.
No.
But
So I have bullies all the way from the line. This is the difference. So somebody usually sees these dogs, they think pocket. So they think pocket 14 to 17-inch dogs.
Right.
We basically, I don't know if you remember the movie Honey, We Shrank the Kids.
Oh yeah.
So
That was fun.
17-inch dogs shrunken down to 11 inches. So we have dogs all the way down to 11 inches to 50 pounds, right on the dot to 55 pounds. You could put them on your lap. You could hold them up just like this in the air, full grown. They're super tiny, muscular, super sweet dogs. And we got blessed by doing that. I think it was because when most people would produce, they pick the big dogs in the litters because their pockets are strong and bulky. So we were picking, when I was working with my mentor, we were picking the small ones. We like the small ones. So we didn't know that that's where the community has gone to now. They want smaller dogs. So we've been already having that small dogs, but definitely it's doable. But just keep in mind that there's different stuff that come with that territory. So you got to make sure that you're getting it from the right person. Because when you shoot the dogs down, you're putting all their organs into one, real compacted. So you're going to come, you got to make sure that the bones are good. You got to make sure everything else is good because it could look pretty in the outside, but it has to be good in the inside as well, too.
Oh, that is so true. So I was reading the article about you, or the blog post on bgmwarehouse.com, and it said, quote, they don't show any of their dogs at the moment, but they have a rich history of clients achieving great success in the ring with their production. So tell us about this.
Yeah, so we have we in the beginning we used to do a little bit of shows, but now we just decided to stay home and produce beautiful dogs for the community. We've had customers that do take the dogs on the road and have created them into champions. We also have other ones that don't go to ABKC shows. They have more success going to local California shows that have also great success. Some level kids that are winning first places. We got a Zelda daughter named Champion Hennessy. So it's growing little by little. I think that a lot of it has to do with the selection of customers too and who you sell to. So now we're targeting more customers that want dogs to go to shows. So those are the customers we're trying to help out and get these dogs in their hands to make
Right.
sure that we get more dogs in the ring. But 2024, we will be back in the ring. We got dogs that we've created
Nice.
that we have coming out. So we're super excited about that. We're working with different people in Texas that we're going to have different dogs getting in the ring.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Thank
Now, what do you hope to see in the bully world 10 years from now?
you. I would love to see for it to kind of have a little bit of, I would say like a little, not a reset button, but I would love to see a little bit more of what I saw when I first came in. When I first came in, like in 2015, it was a little bit more like old school feel to it, like a more like an old school culture. Everybody
Yeah.
respected the OGs a lot. Everybody respected the people that came before us a lot, and I feel like it's still great right now, but I feel like it's a lot of new everything. So I would
Yeah.
like to kind of just get a little bit more of that classic. I would like to see more people in the ring with that old school bow ties and the nice. That's what I'm gonna do. I want to bring back that old school funk.
Nice.
You see
I love
pictures,
old
Google
school.
pictures online
Yeah.
of like people in the ring. They got the nice tall hats. They have the nice bow ties. So I want to bring a little bit of that. When I came in, like I said, my the first show that I went to was ABKC Nationals. I think it was 2017, and it was so cool to see so many dogs in the same ring. But it was so more like the older crowd of breeders.
Right.
So now there's a lot of new school, which is great. But I feel like we still got to bring a little bit of that, like I said, like that funk, that style from
Yes.
before, a little bit more of that razor edge look, that pit bull look. And so I hope in 10 years, we just bring along what got us here instead of losing everything and changing everything to something brand new. I think
Yeah.
you know,
Sorry, go on.
no, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
No, I think it makes so much sense. I mean, I was a kid in the 70s. I love old school stuff and music and culture. And it's hard sometimes when, there isn't a balance where there's so much new and then they kind of forget their roots.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what you want to, keep going on. Was there anything today that we didn't talk about that you were hoping we would touch on, Adrian? And of course, I want to know all the ways we can find you and stuff.
I would say one of the main subjects I would say is like the difference between I don't know if it's a subject we could talk about, but it's kind of like the subject of what's an American bully and what's an exotic American bully.
Yeah, I would love that.
People don't really know the difference.
Sure.
The features that could help you tell the difference between them, that could tell you which dog has more bulldog features between more pit bull features, as far as like seeing tight skin. The tight toes will show you more from a pit bull. The split toes with the nails everywhere, that's more bulldog features. So kind of like if you're trying to do better health and you're trying to shoot for longevity and you're trying to shoot for the standard, the features that we should be shooting for are the American bully, and really tell the difference between the American bully and the exotic American bully, because some customers don't know the difference. So they're starting to mix the exotic with the American, and then you're starting to like shoot away. So what I said is, if in 10 years we don't stick to the original, I think we're going to lose that American bully look. So it's very important to know the difference of what's an American bully, what's an exotic American bully, what's the difference between a micro American bully, and what's the difference between a micro exotic American bully. So that's
tell us all those things because I think that's such good information.
Yeah. So basically, a micro American bully is, like I told you, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You're getting that same dog at 17 inches. You're shrinking it down. Nothing's changing. We're having the same clean, tight toes. This right here is a micro, same clean, tight toes. We got everything perfect. The clean bite. Everything's perfect. There's nothing that changed from this dog. Then you have the micro exotic, which is, so micro means height, not the dog itself. So micro means anything under 14 inches. So that's where you have the micros. So the micro exotic will be the dogs that are that size, which are under 14, but have a lot of wrinkles. They have more of a background of bulldog versus more of Schaffer and Pitbull. Is the biggest difference. So when we talk about breeding dogs and we're shooting for health, last time I checked, English bulldogs don't have a lot of great health. They have their little things that have that have some health issues. And then so it's very important to know the difference. And then the American bully compared to the exotic American bully, it's the same idea. One is clean, tight skin. One represents more the Schaffer Pitbull. The other one, the exotic American bully, represents more of the English. That has more of the toes, more of the big chunky toes, different stuff. That's why you'll see a lot of litters. If you see in a litter, for example, a short tail, that's telling you that there's more genetics of the bulldog gene in there, because that's where the short tail comes. If you're more dogs with wrinkles, then you have a little bit more of bulldog genes in there. So you have to know what balance to know to be able to tell the difference. Because if you buy an American bully that's clean and you mix it with an exotic bully, you're taking away from what this American bully is. So you're losing your money and what you're investing in. So you have to know the difference. And not only that, but if you don't know the difference, then you're creating something. Instead of going forward, you're going backwards. Okay, and I want to touch on that too because not every exotic
Yeah.
bully is unhealthy. Let me touch on that first. Every
Okay,
exotic
sure.
bully is not unhealthy, but what I mean
Hmm.
is that some exotic dogs have fame for having some health issues. So you have the
Right.
same thing, just like in the clean dog world. Some breeders that are good and some that are bad. But I'm touching on the ones that are bad, not the ones that are good. There's a lot of great
Sure.
exotic breeders out there, and a lot of good people out here in Miami as well too. But what I mean is that just knowing the difference, not that one is better than the other, but they should be kept separate. You know, they're not the same.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why they should be kept separate is to not confuse the people who are looking at the dogs. They think they put all of them under one category when they're not the same dog. They're two different, totally different dogs.
Yeah, I find that so interesting because again, the American Bully is from the Staffy and the Pit Bull, and that's the look that I like. I want an American Bully that looks very pit bullish like that because people are like, well, just get a pit bull, but no, I want the mellower temperament of the bully.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that with the micro bully that they're throwing English bulldog in there. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
for the
realize
for
that.
the ABKC clean micros, like the small micros that we produce, there isn't. But for the exotic,
Ah, okay. Oh, you
that
mean the exotic is
yeah,
what? Yeah.
it's not like where we have, for example, we're not mixing. They're mixing, however they mix the dogs, they mix them and they mix them. But it's more where there isn't a standard. It's more based off of features. So you're just trying to make the
Oh.
dog look more exaggerated versus more clean. So a lot of these exaggerated
Oh.
features will be, the big bows, the wide, the bone, the massive bone. So a lot of the dogs of today, some of them kind of looking at it from the perspective of an exotic breeder. When I used to do it, when you would say a clean exotic. So a lot of the dogs of today look like clean exotics. They look like exotic dogs with clean features. So it's
Ah,
where I try
okay.
to tell people there's also two types of American bullies: the ones that have more tighter skin, the ones that have the more looser skin. So in my
Yes.
opinion, and in my opinion, which if I'm sure if we look back down the generations, there's dogs that have more wrinkles will be the ones with the more bulldog genes. 100%.
Okay. And then you have to be careful putting too much bulldog in because of the health problems, right? Of the
Right. Not
bulldogs.
only health problems, but if we're trying to the American ABKC American bullies, we're trying to make them look clean. So the
Right.
English is a little bit more sloppy looking. It has more of the wrinkles, the spread toes. They're beautiful
Yeah.
dogs. The English is a beautiful dog,
Sure.
but it's his own dog. So if we're shooting
Right.
to be clean, we're shooting for the full tails, we're shooting for the nice tight toes, the nice clean teeth. The English doesn't have that. So that's why we got to
Oh,
shoot away from that. So when you start,
yeah.
we're saying about Dave Wilson, that thin line, that will be
Yeah.
that thin line. When you're crossing your dogs and you start seeing exaggerated features that don't go to the standard, that's when you got to put a break on it and say, wait a second, I need to either outcross or I need to reevaluate what we're doing here. Because that's that thin
Okay.
line. You have to know when to press the brake button for sure.
That is so incredibly helpful. And what do you think of Bully Girl magazine?
Bully Girls magazine is amazing. I kind of think of them like the Lowrider magazine for cars. I kind of think of
Yes.
like the basketball magazines. Like there's not really nobody has stuck to it this long. I think it's great for what we do. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
platform that you can show your dogs. I've had multiple people that have used our studs because they saw us on the magazine.
Oh,
There's people who
good.
bought puppies off of us because they saw us on the magazine. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, it gives a platform to reach different people. But most important is like how long and how consistent they've stuck to it. And I think that that's what gives you the quality of okay, this is a real magazine. It's not just whatever
Yes.
type thing. So and then now you came out with a podcast, so that's even more amazing because it gives two ways of a platform. So it's super good,
Yeah.
like just to go on the magazine and read about other camps. Then they could also find information on the podcast. So
Yeah.
either way, it's amazing. But I would say it's the number one bully magazine. I hope they stay for a very long time.
Me
I'm
too.
looking forward to see what else you guys got. It'll be even cool to do a Bully Girl magazine show one day. And just have
Oh,
like
yeah.
your own show. That'd be amazing. I can see you guys there. I see you guys doing great things for sure.
Oh my God, I would love that. Well, what's great too with the podcast is you can listen or you can watch. I always recommend to people like if you're walking your dogs or if you're in a place where you can just listen. But if you can, that noise is my dogs. If you can watch, then absolutely go for it. All right. So, Adrian, this has been such an incredible conversation. Tell us all the ways we can learn about Palacio Bully Camp.
So we have Instagram. We have Palacio _ Bully Camp. We also have my backup page underscore Zeldaline underscore. We got hacked a few times, so we have a backup page.
Oh,
We also have Facebook, Adrian Palacio on there as well too. And those are our two main ways. We're gonna start doing other ways to reach out people, reach different people. But those are our two main places. We're mostly active on Instagram. We have, if you want to see what we've done, that's where you would find everything. We have it all the way from we started. We haven't erased nothing. You can find on there my first dog King all the way to what we've done right now.
oh,
So it's kind of like
that's so nice.
a long list of work. You can see it right there. But definitely that's number one is Instagram.
Okay. Well, this has been fantastic. And everybody keep coming back. Subscribe to the Bully Girl magazine. Download the Bully Girl mobile app, which is available in the Apple and Google Play stores. Follow at Bully Girl Mag on Instagram. And be sure to follow me there as well at Lisa Davis MPH so you can see my beautiful Pitbull Blue, my lovely lab, and the previous good boys. I had a pit mix and a German Shepherd Irish Setter mix, and they're beauties. So be sure to follow and keep coming back. Thanks so much.
Thank you.